Hey guys, so in my demonstrative speech, I'll be actually teaching you guys how to make homemade tacos. Okay, so I know what you guys are thinking. Is this Asian guy really gonna teach me how to make tacos? Well, that is correct. I've actually been eating and cooking tacos for years now, and with my quick and easy recipe, you can too. So by the end of the speech, I want you guys to be able to get a simple and quick recipe whenever you wanna cook tacos. So you can just whip them up and then eat it up. So in my speech, I will be demonstrating how to make homemade tacos by showing my tips and tricks to preparing the toppings and the seasoning for the meats, cooking the meat and their tortillas, as well as assembling everything up for you guys to eat. So before cooking and making these delicious tacos, you actually want to get all your ingredients and equipment first. So the first thing you guys want to bring out is, of course, some tortillas, 4 to 5 is fine, or whatever amount you want to use. Some diced up meat, preferably beef, but pork is also fine as well. A bunch of cilantro, just a little handful, as well as onions, salt and pepper, oil, a thin pan like this, something like that, as well as tongs to cook with. So you want to first beginning by seasoning your meat. So how I like doing this is actually pulling out a cutting board and laying all your diced meat flat onto the board. Right? So then after that, you want to get your salt and pepper and just lightly cover it. We're trying to make this really practical, so there's no certain amount, just put this like a light layer over it. And then once you're done seasoning it, just mix it around and just leave it on the side. So right after you have finished seasoning your meats, we want to then move on to the toppings, so the cilantro and onions. So the thing you want to do with your onions is you want to cut them as thinly as possible. Dice them as thinly as possible. The thinner, the better. And then right after you finish cutting up your onions, we want to then move on to the cilantro. So my little tip with the cilantro is to actually wash them first, of course, and then bunch it into a ball, so then when you cut it, it is more thinner and it will look nicer. So right after you finish cutting up all your toppings, we want to then move on to the tortillas and the cooking of the meat. So my rule of thumb with tortillas is, first you want to get a pan and you want to put it onto your stove and put it at medium, right? So once it gets a little hot, you don't need any oil or anything for tortillas. Just place it on like this. Leave it on for maybe about 30 seconds. If you leave it on too long or anything like that, the tortillas won't taste as good. So right after 30 seconds, you want to flip it. If you're a pro like me, you just flip it like that, or you just flip it normally, and you just want to repeat this step with all the rest of your tortillas. For me, I eat around 4 to 5 of them. So right after you finish cooking all your tortillas, we want to then move on to our meat. So with our meat, we actually need to have this pan as nice and hot as possible. So you want to put it on max temperature and put some oil on top. And once you see the oil bubbling, you're actually ready to cook your meat. So let's pretend this is the meat. So once you place your meat on, just place a handful. Do little small batches at a time. It should start flaming up. We want to create that smoky flavor for the meat, or else it won't taste good. And just cook it up, shake it, bring it back and forth a lot, and then move it along with your tongs, because we want to create this smoky flavor. Repeat this process with all your meat, and once you're done, you just grab your tortillas, put your meat on top of it, your cilantro and onions, and then personally for me, I kind of like a little bit of avocado and green sauce on it, so I also place that as well. And once you're finished doing that, just plate them up and then even them up. So in conclusion, you guys should have a simple but practical homemade taco recipe in your heads now. You should be able to know how to season and cut up your meats, and cutting up your onions and cilantro, cooking your tortillas, as well as cooking your meat and then assembling them all together. And yeah, if you guys don't like this recipe, just shoot me a text and I'll get back to you guys on that. But I'm pretty sure that if you try this recipe, you guys will be surprised of how easy and practical it will be and how bomb it will be. So yeah, thank you guys for listening, and yeah, peace out.